What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel where I'm gonna be watching the files of Dr. Bob. And today what we have on the desktop, man, is SCP-829. Do not wear this nail polish. So yeah, let's jump right into it.
Even since high school, she was never a popular enough kid to enjoy getting lost in the reverie. Even now, at 35 years old, it seems to be just another reminder of all the years she's let slip through her fingers. It's supposed to be a big, messy bar crawl, but they, which is to say Sally and the 3 other adults she can really call friends, can already feel themselves running out of steam by bar 3. Work tomorrow, after all, and Lauren needs to get her kids ready for school. No harm in tying it off early, Sally says over her half-drained cocktail, trying to hide the sadness in her eyes. Is this all there really is to life? Early nights, early mornings, 9 to 5s doing data entry and crying yourself to sleep. If there's a boat, she feels like she's missed it. But there's still one last birthday tradition to partake in, the gift exchange. A formality, really, not like Sally or any of her friends can afford diamond rings and stand mixers, but she opens each gift and smiles, even when it's another pair of socks. That's what she is, after all. The kind of person so bland that the only thing you could truly know about her is she has feet, and presumably wants to cover them in something. Nothing surprises her, until she gets to the last box. Small and jet black, with a crimson ribbon tied around it into a nice bow. And the strangest thing is, nobody among them seems to know who actually bought her the gift. Then again, the tag hanging off it reads, Sally, in cursive handwriting. So what's the harm in opening it? It's her birthday after all. When she opens it, she almost laughs. It's nail polish, a glass of ruby red nail polish without anything inscribed on it. What a strange gift. It's not like she's ever owned nail polish, and even if she did wear it, red? That's hardly her color. She's always been a little more conservative, a self-described plain Jane. She hasn't had a boyfriend or a girlfriend since high school, and that doesn't seem like something that's going to change anytime soon. Still, she thanks her friend and pockets the nail polish. Bad luck to refuse a gift, after all. While taking the train home and contemplating the entry into her 35th year, she thinks about her life. Opportunities missed, paths not followed, dreams not chased, all because she's been so content to take the path of least resistance, to just play it safe and never try anything different. Maybe it's time for a change. The next morning, despite it making her feel downright foolish at first, she decides it's going to be the first day of the rest of her life. She's going to take more risks, more chances, try something new, starting with the nail polish. There's a pleasing tingling sensation as she coats each nail in a rich, thick coat of lipstick red. She gives each a gentle blow to dry it and senses what's almost like electricity coursing down the length of her fingers. She feels beautiful. She feels powerful. At work, Sally seems to be turning heads. Once she joked that if data entry didn't work out, she could always try for a career in espionage, since she was so invisible to everyone. But not today. If anyone has a query or needs a favor, she seems to be the go-to gal. Do they notice she's changed her mindset? Altered the energy field coming off of her with sheer confidence? Maybe. Maybe. But maybe it's that nail polish. She thought it wasn't her color, but looking at it now, shimmering in the office's fluorescent lights, she can't help but think it looks rather fetching on her. Maybe she's got a fairy godmother somewhere out there, looking out for her. Of course, she'd also seem attractive and interesting to all of her coworkers if she subscribed to Dr. Bob right here on YouTube and hit the notification bell to never miss another video. She'd be able to beguile everyone around her with interesting facts about all the most top-secret anomalies in the SCP Foundation's roster. And unlike what actually happened to Sally, nobody would need to die. But it isn't time for the blood to flow just yet. Poor, ignored Sally feels like a whole new person now. Perhaps, as her mother had often said, life really does begin at 35. And the attention she enjoys most at work now is what she's getting from Mr. Zindel, her supervisor. The same supervisor who's passed her up for a promotion in favor of a younger employee for 3 years in a row. But now, he seems awfully interested in her progress. He drops by her office sometimes just to make idle conversation, always feeling a little lost for words, like just being in her presence flusters him. Inappropriate workplace conduct? Perhaps it is. But it feels so alien to the absolute indifference she's used to that it makes her feel oddly powerful rather than objectified. Yes, she could get used to this. But will she? The difference seems to come every morning when she applies that beautiful red nail polish. She feels like Superman taking off the glasses and slipping into his costume every time she does it. But a week after her first day wearing it, it seems oddly dull, like it doesn't have the same life, the same verve, as it did only a few days before. It's missing something, some secret ingredient. And the thought of losing everything she's gained lately is almost too terrifying for her to face. She looks at her nails, still ruby red, but were they always this long, this sharp? How strange. She feels the end of one of her nails with the opposite fingertip and jolts slightly when it effortlessly pierces the skin, leaving a small bead of glistening blood in its wake. Her first instinct would normally be to put it in her mouth and suck the pain away like a frightened child, but she feels a strange gravity coming from the nail polish bottle, its cap twisted open, waiting. Almost hungry. Without stopping to consider how strange it is, she lifts her finger above the bottle and squeezes a few drops of blood inside, stirring it around with the brush. It's as though she's injected the substance with the pure essence of magic. That resplendent glow has returned, and she doesn't spare a moment in dunking the brush and applying a new coat to her thirsty fingernails. And then, the change is almost instant. When Sally arrives at work, it's almost like she's a whole different person from the night before her birthday. Someone wearing Sally's skin as a suit. She radiates confidence, wearing work attire she never would have dared to pull off before. She turns heads with every step. People of all genders at work can barely stop themselves from drooling at the very sight of her. But they're all a later priority. The person she really wants an audience with is Mr. Zindel. She knows with her new nails, her new self, her new everything, he wouldn't even dare to ignore her now. And he doesn't. From the second she enters his office, she has him wrapped around her pointy-nailed little finger. He hangs off her every word, and when she dares to touch the side of his cheek gently with her ruby fingernails, she sees all the blood rise up to the surface of his skin. He's practically trembling around her, and when she says, "How about we meet up after work? I know a place," there's not a snowball's chance in hell of him resisting. And they do meet up that night, and for several nights after. Sally isn't that passive, shrinking violet anymore. She takes the lead, and Mr. Zindel seems to like it. During the wine and dine portions of the dates, he can't seem to stop touching her hands, but even more specifically, her long, red fingernails. Every time his skin makes contact with them, it seems to send a jolt through him, like a pleasurable electric shock. He just keeps going back for more. When they find themselves in Sally's bedroom, things get even stranger. She's never thought of herself as an adventurous person, not in this context or any other, so really it surprises her even more than it surprises Mr. Zindel when she starts pulling out the whips, chains, and leather restraints. Seems that her new nail polish keeps bringing out new sides of Sally. But as Mr. Zindel is blindfolded and tied by his wrists to the bedposts, he really can't complain. And I mean that literally, he's wearing a gag too. That's when Sally gets an idea that she's actually naive enough to believe came from her own mind. She looks at the expanse of exposed flesh on Mr. Zindel like tracts of unplowed land, so fertile for harvest. It seems only natural to reach forward and dig in the tips of her ruby claws, raking them across Mr. Zindel's skin as her supervisor winces in equal parts confused pain and ecstatic pleasure. Thanks to the blindfold, he doesn't even notice her siphoning off the drops of blood, pouring them into the little vial of nail polish. The next day, he gives her the promotion she's been chasing for the last 3 years. It would be easy enough to leave this at, confidence can really take you places, but it's hardly even about that anymore. While Sally rules in her new position at work, she and Mr. Zindel just keep seeing each other. He's obsessed, infatuated. He jokes that maybe he should give her a whole new promotion just so the two of them can spend more time working together. He doesn't care what the others at work think. He'll happily throw away his whole life for her. And that particular sentiment is all she needs to proceed. Tonight, she's got a special game planned. Not in the bedroom tonight. The bathroom. She's got Mr. Zindel blindfolded and gagged again, and this time, she's got him handcuffed to the shower curtain rail, only barely holding the middle-aged middle manager's weight. The bathroom is better for a game like this. No fabric, no carpet, just nice white tiles. So easy to wipe down after she's done. Though she doesn't say that part out loud. It starts the same way as before. She explores the outer dermis of Mr. Zindel's skin with her fingernails, leaving more beads of beautiful, glistening blood in the wake of each stroke. That might be enough to level off the nail polish bottle again, but no. Enough isn't always good enough. Sometimes you want more. Sometimes you want it all. And that's exactly what she intends to take from Mr. Zindel, as thanks for all the years she spent on his cold shoulder. As her fingers tunnel deeper into Mr. Zindel's vulnerable flesh, the night quickly goes from 50 shades of gray to 50 shades of deep, bloody red. He screams for part of his own evisceration, but it doesn't take long for those screams to turn into desperate, choked gurgles, and then nothing but silence, save for the steady drip of thick, warm blood onto the tiles beneath her. That's enough to satisfy the nail polish bottle for quite some time. When she returns to work the next day, she's simmered down a little. The intensity that had led up to the disappearance of Mr. Zindel has faded, though the underlying confidence is there all the same. Seeing as Mr. Zindel had such great trust in her, it isn't long before the higher-ups make Sally the steward of his old position while the police search for him. Someone needs to get those jobs done, after all. But it's not enough for Sally to enjoy her own new lot in life. She wants others to share her joy. She begins calling women at work into her office and tells them about how she thinks the red nail polish would really suit them too. She lovingly paints each of their nails, seeing something light up in their eyes as she does so. A wealth shared between them, and all they need to do is make sure the nail polish bottle stays full and wet. Easy enough. It isn't long before everyone is hunting. Sally is finding unwitting prey in bars, developing a dynamic with them. Soon, they're hanging from the curtain rail in her bathroom, draining away into the nail polish bottle. Her inductees come to her with bottles sometimes, other times, whole buckets. All tributes to the nail polish, but the more it drinks, the hungrier it seems to get. Everyone needs to keep hunting, keep feeding it. Missing posters seem to line the wall of every street in town now. The police are on high alert, wondering whether this is a lone killer or some kind of trafficking gang. But how could they ever imagine the truth? The murderous, clawed blood cult forming around a bottle of nail polish, the way a pearl forms around a grain of sand in an oyster's belly. But really, there's only so many blood bags out there to be drained. Still, barely the faintest echo of the person she'd once been a few months ago is beside herself when her group converges to tell her they have nothing. "Pricked fingers simply won't do it anymore," she barks at them at the top of her voice. "The bottle is thirsty. The bottle needs more prey if it's going to survive. And if it doesn't, we'll all have to go back to who we were before. And who the hell wants that?" Her recruits, the other acolytes of the nail polish, seem stirred into action by her speech, just not in the way that Sally ever would have hoped. She doesn't even have time to react when a force strikes her on the back of her head and everything goes dark. She feels like the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail. When she wakes up, she feels a pain in her wrists and her leg is asleep. She looks up and sees that her hands are handcuffed above her head, tied to a metal pole in some abandoned warehouse. And when she looks down, she sees them, her old colleagues, all the people who she dragged into this beautiful nightmare. All grinning, all bearing their long, red claws. And the last thing she notices before they set upon her like a pack of wild dogs is the nail polish bottle, sitting, uncapped, on the ground beneath her dangling feet. The titillating tale of terror that you've just witnessed is not uncommon when dealing with Scp-829, the bloodthirsty nail polish. One thing that makes this anomaly particularly fascinating, beyond its violent and terrifying anomalous effects, is the fact that this very video is one of the last places you can find it. After a classified incident at Site 87, scores of Foundation records were wiped out completely. If you have access to the Foundation's classified database and take a look at the SCP-829 file today, you won't find any of this. It'll be a completely different anomaly. Which is why it's even more important for you to pay close attention here. Because if a charming stranger with ruby red nails tries to get your attention next time you visit a bar or your local nightclub, I'm one of the only people whose knowledge can keep you safe here. SCP-829 will manifest as a small bottle of red nail polish that, when applied, will generally make the user feel more happy, confident, and sure of themselves. To others, they will also appear directly more attractive and, if they so wish, seductive. It will confer such positive feelings on the subject that they won't even notice that their nails are growing long and sharp. But this newfound luster won't last. In order to keep the high going, they'll feel compelled to add a little vitality to the polish by pricking one of their fingertips with one of their newfound claws and adding their blood to the mix. This will only intensify the personality-altering effect that the concoction has on the user. They'll become far more domineering and develop sexually sadomasochistic tastes, leading to them engaging in acts colloquially known in the fetish community as blood play. While this does seem to result in some personal gratification for the subject, it's equally a pragmatic move intended to source more blood for increasing the power of the nail polish. Of course, even in the absence of blood, while the potency will be lowered, the nail polish can self-sustain by drawing moisture from the air. Though when it reaches a certain threshold of power, relatively late in the transformation process of the subject, it will become truly bloodthirsty. At this stage, the subject will continue to seek sadomasochistic encounters that involve extreme bondage, as their partners become infatuated thanks to the anomalous charms of the nail polish. They will consent to being completely tied up by the subject, at which point, a considerably more lethal interaction will begin. Using the claws, the subject will begin to slowly and methodically disembowel the subject, collecting vast amounts of blood while keeping them alive for as long as possible. If it's any consolation to the bereaved, the experience will at least be somewhat pleasurable. To begin with, anyway, thanks to the anomalous effects of the nail polish. Once this first sacrifice to the polish is made, it will mark the end of the first cycle of infection. The bloodlust will increase for a time, but like a person with 20 boxes of Herbalife in their garage, they will soon feel the need to recruit others to their secret cause. The subject will use the nail polish to induct partners into the way they live, forming cult-like groups that receive confidence, power, and sexual pleasure in exchange for needing to keep the nail polish forever fed. If they do not manage to source enough victims at a point, as our unfortunate Sally discovered, they are definitely not above picking off one of their own to meet the nail polish's demands. It's a cruel irony, really. We so often create the things that destroy us in this life, all on a path to finding something that is, most of the time, already inside us all along. But really, can it do all that much harm to invest in some unique cosmetics now and then? And besides, red always has been my color. Now check out SCP-869. Red always has been my color. Now check out SCP-867, Blood Spruce, top 13 evil SCPs.
Hey man, another impeccable video. Shout out Dr. Bob. Shout out the files of Dr. Bob. See if you say now I'm not wearing nail polish anytime soon, man. I'm gonna separate two tags. I'm gonna start to two tags anytime soon or like never. You are trying. Mostly because man like manalaga no I'm not built for that. But yeah man, like yeah. Great video. Thanks for watching. We are